And she'll, oh yes, and our meeting is being recorded. So Gunjan will take us through what we do at MCLD, what MCLD is about, and why we are here today. Welcome, Gunjan.
Thank you, Kathy. Welcome, everyone. Bienvenue, bienvenidos, and greetings for whatever time of the day it is in your part of the world. Today is a very, very special call for us at MCLD. And even as I go into the introduction of MCLD, you will understand why this is a very special call for us today. So MCLD, or the Movement for Community-Led Development, for those of you who are new here, is a majority world-led network of networks. We use the term majority world very intentionally. We do not say global south. We do not say developing. We do not say third world. We think those are all very colonial terms. We say the term majority world to remind the world that we are the majority of the world's population, right? Bangladeshi photographer Shah Alam coined this term to remind the world that if we truly believe in democracy, how is it that a minority of the world's population is making decisions for the majority of them? At the same time, we use the term majority world to remind all of us that we are the majority of the world's population. We have the power and the responsibility to transform unjust systems. So MCLD is a majority world-led network of networks. We were launched in 2015. We started in Malawi, but were officially launched at the UN Development Summit, at the UN General Assembly in September, where the Sustainable Development Goals were being adopted. A group of people came together and said, if we're truly serious about the Sustainable Development Goals, we have to put communities front and center. Today, we are over 3,000 local community-based organizations, networks, INGOs from all over the world who are committed to ensuring that every person has a voice and choice in decisions that affect their lives. MCLD works through what we call national associations. They are the heart and soul of our movement. These are self-governed, self-directed groups of local organizations, sometimes with INGO country offices, sometimes with local government representatives, individuals, academics. Every country, every national association looks different. But we are all connected in our commitment, in our shared commitment to ensuring human dignity and gender equity. If we go to the next slide, you will see that when MCLD started out, even in 2015, we had 5 goals. And the first goal was voice and agency for women, youth, people with disabilities, and historically marginalized groups. So gender has always been a starting point for MCLD. We also have other goals, which includes ensuring adequate community finance, at least 20% funding to local community-based organizations and governments, so that those closest to the people and those that people can influence have the resources to ensure the services and infrastructure that is needed. Next slide, please. When this happens, we believe it results in good local governance, quality public services, and eventually builds resilience, which is so important because, as all of us have seen this year, we cannot continue to rely on outside support. We have to build resilience within ourselves, within our communities. Next slide, please. So at MCLD, this very complicated looking diagram is actually a very simple way of saying what we do. It's simple in that we just work at 2 levels. We work at the level of communities, where we support communities in mobilizing, in organizing, in actually addressing the challenges that they are facing, that they deemed important. And we work together to advocate with national governments to ensure that policies support people and their aspirations, right? So that's decentralization and devolution. at MCLD, we truly are really a space for collective action. So what we do, how we do it, where we are, is determined by the collective commitment of our members. And this is why today's call, as I was saying, is so remarkable for us, because it has been put together by members across geographies, across languages, right? And that is the power of collective action that MCLD is, that we bring the best of knowledge, experience, these resources that each one of us carries together in a space where we can build something bigger, where we can transform the world. Because remember, as MCLD, we believe that we have the power and the responsibility to transform unjust power systems. And those unjust power systems, the biggest one of them is patriarchy. And we know that. MCLD, as you saw, started with an agenda for gender equity. That was our first goal, gender-focused community-led development. And we have made a lot of strides around that. I'm very happy to share that our governance structure, our apex decision-making body, our Global Assembly, is 70%, almost 70% women. Our team, Secretariat team, is 80% women. So in our governance structures and all our national associations, women are in the majority. And that's a wonderful first step, because we know power to women is important. But we also know that it is not enough to just put women in positions of governance. How do we make sure that our work and our policies reflect the values of gender equity and inclusiveness that are the foundation for MCLD? And so for that, I'm very happy to announce that next year, in February, we are launching a gender working group. So if all the members of MCLD, and those who are not members, but if you want to join MCLD or the gender working group, you're very, very welcome to write to us and let us know. I will put the email ID in chat shortly. But we are launching a gender working group to not just look at how gender equity is practiced within MCLD, but to launch these huge campaigns centering gender equity and gender work across our network, across the different regions that we work in, so that members who are committed to gender equity can come together not just for 16 days or one event, but throughout the year. We use our collective power to bring about change. With that, Kathy, back to you.
Thank you, Gunjan. Thank you for setting up this stage. So I just wanted to inform you that today our agenda for this meeting is to just understand broadly what is digital violence and some of the related aspects to it. Talk about digital resilience, how do we prevent it, and how do we respond. And so to that, I'm going to invite Namya, who is our regional coordinator for Asia, and she's based in Sri Lanka, to take us through what is gender-based violence, how do we understand it, and also, just to tell us what is this technology, technology-facilitated gender-based violence. Welcome, Namya.
Thanks, Kathy. So hello to everyone. And so basically, as Kathy said, I will be running through a bit on what gender-based violence is, and also the evolving of gender-based violence to technology-facilitated gender-based violence. So how do we understand gender-based violence? Basically, it is any form of violence. It can be physical, sexual, psychological, or even financial or economic violence that is caused due to the gender of somebody. So for the longest time, however, this was understood to be in binary form. That is to say, it mainly focused on women and girls and the violence they suffer because of their gender. But over time, it has also broadened to include the LGBTQI community because they too are a minority community that suffer gender-based violence. So this year, as you all know, for the 16 days of activism, the topic is to focus on digital violence. And it's so important to focus on digital violence because that is the growing trend in the world. Everyone is moving forward with technology, with digital spaces. So therefore, it's very important to see what forms of violence are perpetrated in these digital spaces. Now, there are different forms of violence, and I'm sure the speakers that are coming after me will actually elaborate on what forms of violence are there. So I will not touch on that more. But what I want to say is that what happens as a result of this violence? Most of the time, what happens is that people start deactivating their social media accounts, or people start to withdraw from these digital spaces or technology on the whole, or even to self-censor them to see they even without anybody telling them not to post anything on social media or not to be on this particular site, they start to feel it themselves, and they stop themselves from being very liberal or being achieving their full potential in the online space because they fear the retaliation. They fear the violence that they will have to face online. So a lot of deactivating, self-censoring, withdrawing from online spaces happen due to online gender-based violence. Now, the extension of that is, as I mentioned earlier, the world is going forward with technology. The world is going forward with the digital space. And if people fear to engage with that digital space because of the violence that they are facing, that I feel personally that is very unfair, that shouldn't happen to anyone. So that's why I believe that it's very important to understand today within this call and even afterwards what we can do to address gender-based violence in the digital space. So I know that a lot of state agencies or even civil societies have made mechanisms like hotlines which provide legal support or psychosocial support to victims of technology facilitated gender-based violence. And governments have made specific laws now in most of the countries to address online gender-based violence. But the question is this enough? Because technology is something that keeps evolving. It changes day by day at a rapid speed. So the question is whether what we have done as a community is enough to address this. So I leave that thought to you to think about during this whole call, and we have breakout rooms, so let's discuss further about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Namya. So Namya has just thrown a very interesting question to us, that what are we doing in this, to curb gender-based violence? And I know that Cecilia Campos from Bolivia has a very, very interesting way how they have been sensitizing communities on gender-based violence. So Cecilia, I'm going to invite you now to tell us what you have been doing. Cecilia, are you there?
Hola, hola, ¿me escuchan?
Hola. Thank you, Cecilia.
Buen
So
día.
if you want to hear Cecilia, please go to English. Yes, press on English so that we can all hear what Cecilia is saying. Thank you.
Ok, entonces, sí, voy a
Yes, we
comenzar.
do.
Gracias. Muchísimas gracias, Katy. Voy a comenzar compartiendo la iniciativa que hemos impulsado aquí en Bolivia, justamente a propósito de estos 16 días. Nos hemos sumado nosotros a esta campaña digital, pero quisiera comentar que esto nació de un proyecto que tiene algunos meses previos de trabajo, porque es un proceso lo que hemos hecho para juntar la fuerza de las comunidades justamente para trabajar en esto. Eh, Nosotros somos una organización que trabaja desde las artes y las transformaciones sociales, y creemos que el poder de la gente se puede potenciar a través justamente de la reflexión y de las propuestas que se generan desde los movimientos artísticos y culturales. En ese sentido, cuando surge este tema de la violencia que se multiplica y repercute y se amplifica a través de las redes, nosotros decidimos impulsar una campaña más bien apropiándonos de las redes, ¿no? Una campaña creativa. Nosotros acá en Bolivia este año hemos celebrado los 200 años de vida de nuestro país. Es el bicentenario de Bolivia y justamente a partir de eso nos pusimos a pensar que esta historia que vivimos eh, de estos 200 años narran mayormente la historia de hombres, ¿no? Que han construido el país o que han hecho cosas épicas, pero estaba muy ausente la historia de mujeres que en realidad son las que sostienen este país y que literalmente lo han hecho nacer muchas veces. Eh, no solo desde la mirada biológica, quiero decir, sino principalmente desde la prehistoria. Entonces, para nosotros sí era fundamental que esta historia también se cuente porque creemos que si hay algo que hacen las redes es amplificar las historias que denigran la violencia, pero muy pocas veces las redes logran amplificar las historias que merecen contarse. Entonces, hemos decidido aprovechar estas redes para multiplicar estas historias y estos aprendizajes y principalmente para multiplicar también el poder ciudadano para poder contar estas historias que muchas veces no se han contado. Así hemos impulsado una acción dentro de un proyecto que tenemos que se llama Forjadoras de Historia, Mujeres del Bicentenario. Hemos impulsado una campaña, era una convocatoria a la población, a las comunidades, para escribir cartas para la memoria colectiva, contando historias de mujeres épicas que quizás ellas conocieron en sus familias. Muchos nos han contado historias de mujeres que han transgredido desde las barreras de la educación. Por ejemplo, han sido las primeras mujeres que en su familia que han tenido el derecho a estudiar. Han sido las primeras mujeres que además, por ejemplo, en otros tiempos han elegido una carrera de ingeniería, por ejemplo, que aquí es una cosa muy machista, ¿no? Es un mundo muy machista. Entonces, hemos recopilado historias muy interesantes. Esperábamos nosotros, bueno, con el poder amplificador de las redes, tener un máximo 100 historias, y debo decir que hemos casi triplicado esa expectativa, porque realmente el silencio también es violencia, y el no contar estas cosas hace que estas historias no existan, y creo que este momento de nuestro país era clave para repensar y para entender que la historia de Bolivia está hecha también por las historias de las mujeres. Entonces, al hacer esta convocatoria a través de redes sociales, hemos recibido todas estas respuestas y un equipo de artistas que forma parte de nuestra comunidad ha tomado muchas de estas cartas y las han convertido en arte, las han convertido en obras de teatro, las han convertido en canciones, las han convertido en poesía y también las han convertido en obras pictóricas, en cuadros, ¿no? Hemos hecho un mural gigante de 2 diablezas y eso es con eso quiero terminar. Eh, Nosotras nos decimos a nosotras mismas de manera reivindicativa que somos las diablezas, porque justamente este proyecto recoge 2 historias maravillosas de 2 mujeres en la ciudad de Oruro, de Bolivia. Pueden googlearlo. Oruro es muy tradicional. El baile de la diablada es una danza típica que tenemos, pero que inicialmente era bailada solamente por hombres, Y a partir de ese proyecto hemos encontrado a las dos primeras mujeres en la historia de Bolivia que han roto ese esquema en un baile típico boliviano y han ingresado ellas no solamente forjando unas máscaras, una de ellas es una artesana que ha construido las máscaras de diablo que solamente lo hacían los hombres antes y ahora es muy conocida a nivel internacional también. Y la otra es la primera mujer que se animó a entrar a bailar en una fraternidad, en una comparsa de diablada. Y pues nosotras creemos que ser diableza es eso, es transgredir, es recontar la historia, volverla a contar desde otra perspectiva que es importante y necesaria, y es agarrar ese fuego con el que a veces nos queman, queman nuestras ideas, queman nuestros cuerpos, nos violentan, pero que con ese mismo fuego nosotros podemos hacer arder todo, quemar todo, para que la historia misma vuelva a ser contada desde una mirada reivindicadora y que, bueno, que ese mismo fuego sirva para que nunca más puedan volver a tocar o violentar a ninguna de nosotros. Eso quería contarles en cortito.
Ser diableza es dejar que todo arda para encender la historia todas las veces que alguien toque o rompa a una de nosotras.
Las diablezas somos la fiesta mayor, con coraje, fuerza y determinación. Que nos miren y que sepan que nuestras historias valen un montón. Que nos miren y que sepan que nuestras historias valen un montón.
Thank you, Cecilia, for the wonderful presentation and the video. And so now we're going to go we're going to Kenya or East Africa, and Nancy Waweru is going to be our next presenter. She's the programs coordinator and the co-founder of Vijana Mtaani, a youth organization. And Nancy, we've heard a lot about gender-based violence, but I know that I know that you have statistics, a lot of statistics on how this has happening. And the other question that we would like to ask you is, what are some of the preventive measures that we can come up with, especially on technology-facilitated gender-based violence? Welcome, Nancy.
Hello.
Hi, Nancy, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello, Kathy. Can you hear me? I think you're on mute.
Yes,
You can
I
hear
can.
me?
We can hear you. Yes.
Yes, can I proceed?
Sure.
Okay. For some reason, I can't hear you. Yes, so, okay, awesome. I can continue. I don't know why I can't hear you. Well, I'll take you through the TFGBV framework on preventive and also on response. And first, I will start by presenting the global reality of TFGBV. And as we all know that women are more predisposed, so I will pull out some statistics that shows the prevalence of TFGBV among women. So you see that at a global harassment rate, we have 58%.
that is adolescent experiencing harassment on social media platforms across some of the countries. This is a research that was conducted by Plan International. We also have another one that was conducted that shows 28% of women experiencing online violence across 5 African countries. And as we continue, you will realize that we don't have a lot of data. Actually, even some of the data that I'm presenting is not, actually, some of it is not well verified. So, of course, we need a lot of research to produce accurate data on TFGBV. And actually, Namya had spoken about it as something that is growing. It's a growing trend in the world. Recently, I was just reading about UNFPA, and I saw a quote from one of the directors who said that digital violence against adolescent girls has become so alarmingly pervasive that actually many now say that they expect to experience it. Yeah, next slide, please. So when you look at the TFGBV prevention framework, what can we do? What are some of the measures that we can put across to prevent TFGBV in our various contexts? We look at a model that is multi-layered, looking at different institutions and which role can they play. We'll start with, from a personal perspective, that is from the individual level of prevention, just very simple things like having very strong and unique passwords to enable, like more than one factor of authentication. Then, of course, it's important to note that, or to check regular update when it comes to privacy and security settings, across social platforms. And this is something that we are often told that you should not share sensitive personal information in public spaces, especially in social media forums or outlets. And then, of course, we need also to integrate digital safety in our various programming, that is SA, SRH, and and life skills programs. The other aspect is organizational prevention, which is which we are looking at integrating digital safety into programs. I know majority of us run programs that are gender. Our executive director has just spoken about having a gender working group come next year for MCLD. So it's very important to integrate information of TFGBV across all our gender responsive programs. Next slide, please. Then when we look at a national level prevention, and I know we are going to have a breakout session and we'll have more conversation on this, we are looking at a legal and policy framework. And we'll all agree, and like I said, again, Namya has spoken about it being a growing trend, that is TFGBV. So we don't have many laws, we don't have many policies across the globe that actually, deter TFGBV from happening. So it's important for government to start thinking of ways in which they can enforce comprehensive cyber crime laws that can address, of course, TFGBV. including issues to do with non-consensual sharing of intimate images. These are some of the forms of TFGBV that Namya was talking about that we will get to hear. Then online threats, stalking, harassment, deepfake misuse of AI, generated abuse, and of course, child sexual exploitation and grooming online. So it's very important for the government to come up with ways in which they can curb or prevent this kind of TFGBV. We also have doxing and many others, and we are going to have more conversation during breakout session. Then we have technology company measures, of course, getting support from tech companies by creating safer digital environments in various ways. Next slide, please, Kathy. So digital literacy and awareness, and this is what we are doing today. And I also want to thank MC for having this platform. It's always important to thank both men and women about and more predisposed. What are the forms of TB and what can we do to prevent? And next slide, please, Kathy.
Nancy, we seem to be losing you a little
Then when it comes, next slide.
Nancy, can you hear me?
Thank you. When it comes to response framework, we have various ways in which, of course, as a community, as a nation, and even at a global platform, that we are supposed to respond in the event TFGBV happens. So number one, which is key, is to ensure safety and emotional support. This is not the time to talk about what were you thinking, why did you not create a stronger password, why did you share private information online? But this is a time to validate someone's feelings, because already the survivor has a cocktail of feelings. The survivor feels guilty, he or she feels embarrassed, shameful, and in some cases you also hear others contemplating suicide. So it's very important to validate, to listen, and to also offer a lot of empathy. And very important, before we block the perpetrator, please preserve evidence. You can use that evidence during litigation process, and of course report the abuse. The same platforms that where abuse is taking place is the same platform that can also be used as a platform to report abuse. Kathy, next slide, please. So we have immediate response protocol. Of course, we talked about safety and emotional support, prioritizing the emotional and physical safety, evidence preservation, that one I've talked about, and of course, reporting to necessary platforms, and also reporting to stations, to police stations in relevant setups. Next slide. So it's important to continue offering support, especially for survivors of TFGBV. We've seen this. I've seen this in my country, where actually there are those who commit suicide. There are those who have suicidal ideation. So it's very important to make sure that we support survivors of or TFGBV. Then I know time is up, so this should be my last slide, and that is a call to create safe digital spaces. This should be like our collective responsibility. Ending technology facilitated is not optional. It's a responsibility for all of us. And, online space must be safe, empowering, and free from fear of all. Thank you so much for listening. We'll engage more during the breakout sessions for anyone who has any questions. Thank you so much, Kathy.
Thank you, Nancy. And Nancy has raised quite interesting ways on some of the experiences that people are experiencing virtually. And so our next speaker, who is Chathuranga Jayasinghe from Sri Lanka. Please forgive me if I have butchered your name. I apologize. And for you, Chathuranga, I would like to ask you, Nancy has told us, some of the general impacts that we have, but I would like you to focus on what are the impacts or what has been the experiences of the LGBTQI community and what is the impact of, technology facilitated gender-based violence. If you hear TFGBV, that means technology facilitated gender-based violence. Welcome, Chathuranga.
Thank you for the opportunity. Yes, so when it's come to LGBTIQ people facing TSGBV, so this has been increased after the regulation and political changes in United States. So it was really increased last couple of months. I can explain what are the incident LGBTIQ people facing on online platforms, even dating apps, social media platforms. They are facing doxing, cyberbullying, hate speech, blackmailing, also exposing their personal details, their gender identities, and gender expressions. I can, so when it's come to Sri Lankan culture, most of the LGBTIQ community people stay live in closet environment. They are not, most of them are not openly accepted their gender identity or expressions. So this has been threat to their lives and their social lives, their families, by exposing their gender identity or expression in social media platforms. And hate speech sorry hate speech has rise so much in last couple of months. When it come to statistics, so last 3 months, 908 cases has been identified. Also our politicians or female politician also getting harassed in online platforms, saying that they are also a part of LGBTIQ community as a harassment. So out of 908 cases, 35% of those cases are toward LGBTIQ community. These are the only reported cases. So, and it's also not only online platforms, these harassments happening, it's online and offline, both connected. Because when it's come to dating apps, people are going to meet the partners, they are online chatting online platforms, and they are getting physically and emotionally harassed at that point, also being robbed and raped. Several cases are not even legally complain in law enforcement or anything, because when it's because in Sri Lanka, LGBTIQ communities is not legal. So they are not going to take help out of legal enforcement as well. So I can explain recent incidents happen. Most of the trans masculine community was exposed in online platforms. Can we have the next slide, please? The next one. Sorry. Maybe. I have sent some images. So most of the trans masculine community was exposed in online platform last couple of months. They are not openly saying they are trans, but these people who are running few pages providing hate to the community toward LGBTIQ community was exposing their personal details on online platforms. Even we have filed complaint to the legal system. The complaint was ignored, and even few community members was tried to attempt suicide. Even for few of their family members also try to attempt suicide because of this incident. But still nothing happened from the legal system. When it's come to the supporting system in Sri Lanka, we have few volunteer. Yes, this is the incident that I was speaking about, and there was so many movements recently started after the US government statements. Few anti-gender movements, mothers movement, fathers movement, several other movements was providing hate speech toward LGBTIQ community. And last around September, there was a advertisement provided by a private company sensitizing toward LGBTIQ community that's make a huge impact on social media to start hate speech again toward LGBTIQ community, even boycott. They try to start a boycott movement also toward that supportive brands. Yes. And even we have a online legal system, online act in our legal system. Even that there is nothing happening. Only that maybe Namya can help me out. Only that legal act is using for politicians only. There is nothing was using to protect people in our country. There are a few supporting system like hashtag generation. There is a hotline called Pratya, very sensitive on LGBTIQ community, women, and providing legal, technical, and psychosocial support. Same as Women and Media Collective has a hotline. Even I mentioned criminal investigation department here. They have a cybersecurity unit, especially for the cybersecurity cases, but the help they are providing is not satisfying. Mostly they doesn't believe online harassment is a thing. Only physical harassment is a crime. They only sensitize on that. So, yes. I think my time is up. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chathuranga. And you've raised some quite interesting aspects of, technology facilitated GBV. where now we're becoming keyboard warriors and we're hiding behind the keyboard and being very mean and essentially ignoring the human rights of everyone else around us. And so our next speaker, who is Curneshy Mmadi. Curneshy is a law student at the Catholic University in Malawi, and she's going to take us through the largest group, young people, who are the largest consumers of technology, and how then does this affect young people, and what is the impact of technology facilitated impact. Curneshy?
Hello everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Alright, so I'm going to present on the impact of gender-based violence on youth. To start by, the definition of digital violence is an act of digital abuse generated and spread by media platforms. For example, we have Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and other social platforms, which result in physical and sexual, psychological, social, political, or economic harm and other infringements on women's rights and their freedom. So it manifests in different social platforms like WhatsApp, as I've already said, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And it has different effects on the women and youth as well. And the most surprising thing is almost every day young people use the internet for education, entrepreneurship, and civic engagement. But then along with these opportunities, digital violence images are presenting a potential danger and vulnerabilities like online harassment, cyberbullying, gender-based violence, and misinformation, violation of privacy.
We can't see.
Yes.
Curneshy, we can't seem to hear you clearly. Is it possible for you to either move closer to your speaker?
Okay, how about now?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't notice. So as I was saying, the internet is mostly used by young people every day for education, entrepreneurship, and civic engagement. But then alongside these uses, there is other opportunities of digital violence which emerge and present a danger and vulnerabilities like online harassment, cyberbullying, gender-based abuse, misinformation, and violation of privacy. So the youth perspective from all of this is that digital violence is not just a technical issue, but then it's a human rights issue, and it involves the cyberbullying. This kind of bullying they threaten and infringe upon multiple nations and international organizations, human rights like the Malawian Constitution, and we have the KIDO, which is for the whole African continent. In Malawi, we also have the Electronic Transaction and Cybersecurity Act, which prohibits this act of cyberbullying. And then with this applies that we have all these law enforcement, but yet we still have high rates of digital violence. Like right now in Malawi, it's about 46% women. Almost every day they face digital violence. We have different examples from universities and as well-known figure in the legal society. Her name is, just for the sake of privacy, I'd rather not mention her name. She also faced this kind of violence whereby she was being portrayed as someone who would do anything just to have a higher position in her career. And the issue went to court. They tried to solve the issue by giving chances to the media influencer, but then he never stopped. And then you'd be like, we have these laws and the punishments are being given and nothing is being done. And then you see students from different colleges making pictures all over social media. We had one today last year, and it was all over social media, whereby a female student, her boyfriend asked her to send me pictures, and the boyfriend, instead of just giving them or refusing to give them, he shared the pictures to his friends, and the friends expressed the whole thing on social media, like Facebook, it was all over Instagram, and even Twitter. So the question be like, why did you?
Curneshy, can you speak slower? Sorry for interrupting. Can you speak slower? because we have interpreters also interpreting. Sorry. Sorry. You can continue just a little bit slower so that our interpreters can interpret.
Should I continue or there is something to be said?
No, you can continue, just slower, a little bit slow so that our interpreters can catch up with you.
Okay, so as I was saying, from the youth perspective about the digital violence, it's not just a technical issue, but then it's a human rights issue as it involves cyberbullying and then stalking in their place. It infringes on multiple national and international human rights. For example, we have the Constitution of Malawi. It's supposed to be there to protect human rights. For example, women and children under Section 21 and Section 24. But then you see that almost every day, women go through digital violence. For example, right now, about 46% of women in Malawi are facing physical assault, sexual violence in their digital platforms. For example, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, and Instagram. So the question would be, like, how can we have law enforcement all over the country, but then this digital violence is still rising? It's not that the laws that we have are not effective, but then we'd be like, so what is causing this happening? For example, we had last year in YouTube when a student took pictures were all over the internet just because a boyfriend decided to share those new pictures on the internet with the friend. And we also had one teacher, a very influential female in the legal system, whereby she was assaulted and she was being addressed like someone who would do anything or sleep with anyone safe just so that she could happen. So as I said about the case measures, why do we have this kind of issue lies in despite having different policies and systems? Maybe it's not that we do not know the issue how we have it, and we do not have the solution. So we have the solution, that's how we need to be looked for. As a youth that as a youth member, I would say that maybe it's just the need to advocate into stronger policies, to criminalize physical violence and protection systems itself, but then we will do it in the same. But the whole point is to find a person taking their own
I think we are losing Curneshy. Her network is not the best. We can't hear you, Curneshy. No, we can't at all. Maybe you can log in again and then you can speak after our breakout rooms. You can log in and you can log out and log in again, and then we see if it's working better. Meanwhile, as we wait for Kuneshi to sort out the network issue, we are going to go into our groups now. Thank you everyone for the wonderful and enriching discussion. If you have questions that you feel need to be answered, please put them in the chat box. However, right now we're going to go into 15 minutes of 15 minutes discussion of our breakout rooms, and in there we're going to discuss what actions can you take as an individual, as an organization, and what is available to you. What actions can you take to mitigate technology facilitated gender-based violence? And therefore, I'm going to request Cassidy to please take us to our different rooms. Each speaker is going to be in different rooms. So wherever you find yourself, I hope you've been listening, because then you get to interact with that specific speaker on some of the issues that we are discussing. Cassidy, are you ready for ours? Thank you. So we can join our rooms now, and then we'll be back in 15 minutes.
And if you got a request to join a room, please join it. If you did not, then you will stay in this room with me. So if you have an option to move to another room, please click on that option. If you do not have an option, then you will be with me. Okay, so those of us who are left in this room, as Kathy said, we will be discussing what can we do. Oh, hold on. Can everyone hear me? So if you have an option to join another room, please do. If not, then you are with me and we will be discussing what can we do about the topics that we have discussed today. So kind of looking at what are some available mechanisms in our countries to address technology-facilitated gender-based violence. So what are some things that are available to address it? What is missing? What could we be doing or what could be available to support? And how can we as civil society organizations or the MCLD community do to address technology-facilitated gender-based violence? So I welcome anyone who wants to share any thoughts, examples, ideas.
Sorry, I went to and took my medicine.
Yeah.
That is why I could not join the the breakout. This cyber violence is really very, very disturbing, and a lot of people depressed. Some are committing suicide because of the bullying and all this. And it's something that I can say is secrecy, because it's you are the one who is directly, it's not like physical, but emotional. So it's really getting very, very, very deep. But what we are doing now in Nigeria, especially during this, we are going all over on media now. One media said we have over 10 million viewers since we started. And even yesterday, we had 30 minutes on the national media, television, and we are on radio. And today, we went to Sagdik went to the chief, the community of chief and rulers, traditional rulers. Tomorrow, they are going to big women gathering. And so, on Thursday, we gather a lot of youth group, and so we are really spreading. But I'm really very, very impressed with the presentation that we have to go on the top, especially the government. And I'm proposing that my team will, in their state and even the federal government, to make a bill so that we will have a framework to work. So it's very, very important. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Rebecca. And Dr. Rebecca, I'm curious, with the work that you do, are there any things that you can think of that other organizations could be doing, that MCLD could be doing to address the issues that we've talked about today? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, but you know what? Advocacy, especially on social media, I saw that it's reaching a lot of people because if we had an opportunity now on national youth now, national news television, SEPI, we had two, but on 16-day activists and SACDIC now, we have two, and the 30 minutes is real talk on our work and the 16-day activists and all this. So it's covering very huge. People are calling me. They said, what is this SACDIC that you brought in Nigeria that is blowing the news nowadays? All since 26, you are all over the news in SEPI and SACDIC and all this. So it's reaching a lot of people, and people are now they know that people know, and we are like a watchdog. You know, if you are doing something and people ignore, then you will continue doing it. But if you are upfront and fighting on behalf of people, people will be scared not to continue doing it. So I see one to broadcast on very national and you know, Nigerian television is, they can broadcast it internationally too.
Right.
So, and to go like, don't leave any sector. So we are going to the government, we are going to the rulers, the chief, we are going to women, we are going to youth, and we did not organize that one of children yet, but I think a cluster approach and holistic approach to, so that everyone will hear is very, very important.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to put it, but this year, really very, very, we plan our activities that every day in the 16th day, we go out and we broadcast, and so the news is all over. and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Mm.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rebecca.
You're
Did
welcome.
others have contributions? Florence, I see that you are unmuted. Did you want to share?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And then after Florence, we'll go to Noel. So Florence, go ahead.
I will talk about what the government has put in place, and then talk about what civil society organizations are doing.
Yeah.
In our country, Uganda, an act was put of Computer Misuse Amendment Act 2022. This law criminalizes several forms of online abuse, including cyber harassment, offensive, indecent communication, and authorized access of data, misuse of social media. They also have a Data Protection and Privacy Act of 2019, which gives individuals the right to privacy and protects personal data, which provides a basis for legal redress when private images or personal information are shared or misused without consent. Those are two legal frameworks that were put in place by our government to make sure that at least technology facilitated GBV should be minimized in Uganda. There are some other efforts by civil society organizations. I will take an example of, like, we have Women of Uganda Network, Uganet. This is a women organizations network. It has a web portal where survivors can report online-based gender violence, where they can seek support or get connected to legal or psychosocial help. That is one of them. Then there is another organization. In fact, in these 16 days of activism, the DPI, it has also organized an online webinar where civil society organizations and human rights defenders were engaged to discuss and come up with some strategies to make sure that we minimize this technology-facilitated gender-based violence. There are so many things, but I can give out those three because I know other people want also to contribute. That is what is being done in Uganda.
Great. Thank you, Florence. All right, Noel.
Thank you, Cassidy. So then my contribution is, I think, to respond to this kind of violence done using artificial intelligence and the online services, it is very needed to deal with political will within any country. It can be conducted policy advocacy, so that the government have a will to protect everyone and all rights, including expression and peaceful assembly, including sexual-related rights. And then I think the great party of management for the online services is in hands of technological organizations at a global level. We need also to influence those organizations, for example, X, Google, and others, so that they put in place some rules and regulations towards protecting people through online services. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Noel. All right, Aisha.
Good afternoon, good evening, senior colleagues and colleagues here. For me, hearing what was discussed, and for me, I see the cyber violence as something that it's really disturbing nowadays, and it's growing every day amongst our youth, especially, and not even our youth. I've realized even among women, because like now that we are, SAGD has, given us some materials to go into the community to also, celebrate the 16-day activism, in the communities. When talking with women during the focus group discussion, a lot of women are admitting this and saying really this cyber violence is one of the disturbing things that is disturbing them and even their children, and not even young ladies or young men, even the women. And this happens sometimes because of poverty. So like they trade, yeah.
Sorry,
So
Aisha. Everyone else has come back. The breakout rooms closed. We did not get a notification because we were in the main room.
all right,
But I would
no
love to hear
problem.
the rest of your ideas if you wanted to type them and put them in the chat.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Over to you, Kathy.
Thank you, Cassidy. Is Curneshy back? I'm just checking with you if you're...
Yes, so she was able to talk in our group because it was a issue with her pods. She was actually sharing she was sharing when the room ended, actually.
All right. So, Kunesh, would you like to give us a summary, unfortunately, of your presentation now? Because I think we only have 2 minutes or 3 for you.
Okay, so I'll just go straight to the reflection of digital violence, especially on youth. As a youth task force member, I would say that we should commit to advocating for stronger policies that criminalize digital violence and protect the victim. But then this thing, we've been hearing it for almost ages and ages that we should implement these policies and nothing has changed. So the question would be like, what should we do in order to enforce these policies, or what should we do in order to end these violences? Maybe it's because we've been missing the root cause of all the problems that happen in social media. For example, instead of focusing on policies, how about we focus on the girls and the women that face these problems every day, like teaching them about their rights, them knowing that there are policies outside there which can help them in case they face this kind of harassment, and telling them that they do not need clarification or someone's approval for them to know that they can be a better person or they can be strongly independent women without having to send their uh, nude pictures to the internet or to boyfriends or friends just so that they should feel noticed. That's what I had for today.
Thank you, Kuneshi.
Thank you.
You are a fast speaker. I don't know if our interpreters need a bit of time to interpret, or we are good, we can continue.
I'm so sorry about that. I'll work on that one.
All right. So before we close, thank you very much for taking your time to give us even a presentation. Luana says she got half of what you said, but we will send everyone information that you gave. So at this point, I want to invite Gunjan to tell us something on our way forward. Gunjan, welcome.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody for the wonderful, absolutely content of this call. I think we all see now the power of the work that all the members are doing across the globe, right? We also, I hope, have in our breakout groups identified opportunities where we can work together to take this forward. What I did want to share was a suggestion that I put in my breakout group as a potential way forward. One thing, we do want us to continue to do this work together, right? So we do want to invite our members. If there are issues and topics you care about, then please let us know so that you can also host collective calls like this. Our agenda next year is to have more spaces that are hosted by members. For gender-based violence in particular, and for gender equity, as I mentioned, we are launching in February a gender working group. We are looking for people who would want to be a part of it. We are looking for people who would be willing to co-chair it. So again, if this is of interest, reach out to us, let us know. One potential suggestion, because I know in our breakout group, at least Kathy, there was a lot of discussion on the legal aspect of technology-focused violence. We also heard how civic space in many countries is closing, right? And governments are using this as an excuse to monitor civil society instead of actually to track civil society's work, online violence. One suggestion is maybe the gender working group can look into what kind of legislation can protect from technology-based gender-based violence, at the same time not be a monitoring mechanism for civil society and for picking up dissidents. And I noticed in the chat, Esther mentioned that UNESCO is doing something around this. I wonder, Kathy, if you have a couple of minutes just to hear what that is, to see if that's something our members can plug into. Or if not, then we should then maybe later pick it up with Esther to just see. That would be something very interesting if we can actually have a space to influence legislation.
I can give Esther when you're ready to present. I have 2 minutes for you. If you have time to just give us a summary of what you're doing and how those who are in this call and also our members can participate or co-create with you. Esther, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much, Katie. I'm actually working with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, but this is an initiative which has been done, and I'm just aware of it. I don't know deeply what are they doing clearly, but this is one of the initiatives which is going on in Tanzania. So maybe I can dig deep and then I'll share it with Kati. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther.
In that
All
case,
right, so,
can I quickly tell them about the global call?
Yes.
Okay.
And the global call and also the Giving Tuesday, if you don't
Yes,
mind.
please. Sure. So one, if you are an MCLD member, you would have seen an email about Giving Tuesday from us. Giving Tuesday is a huge movement recognizing the philanthropy of individuals, of people, because most of our countries have a culture of giving where people actually share whatever resources they have with people outside of their houses and families, with communities, with organizations. Giving Tuesday was on December 2nd. MCLD has a match where any money that MCLD, any donations that MCLD receives up to the 31st of December will be matched up to $80,000. So there is a message. If you would like to send it out and share it across, please let us know. We can share the message with you. Encourage people, whatever the amount it is that they want to share. I think this goes a long way in doing that collective action and building our sustainability and resilience without relying on just external funding. So I did want to thank you, Kathy, for that reminder. On the last thing that I did want to say was a global call. If you are MCLD members, you know we have global calls every month. They're typically on the last Wednesday of a month. But in December, we never do that because we know everybody is out preparing for the new year, the holiday season. So our global call is next Wednesday. It's on 10th of December this year. And that call is really special because it is a celebration of everything we have been doing in this really, really difficult year. Because we know that this has been a very difficult year, right? It's been a difficult year for members. It's been a difficult year, especially for LGBTQI and groups working on gender equity, sexual and reproductive health rights. We are seeing across the globe the backlash against diversity and inclusion, against gender. We are seeing cuts in budgets, not just the United States, UK, all the other European countries have been doing that. It has been an incredibly difficult year. And yet, throughout this year, the commitment of our members, of community-based local organizations, of development professionals who are committed to the values of human dignity has not wavered. And we want to celebrate on December 10th this commitment. We want to celebrate all the little tiny wins we have had in this very difficult year, despite all circumstances. Because to me, that celebration gives me energy, gives me inspiration, and gives me hope to get on to 2026 with renewed enthusiasm, courage, and commitment. So you'll hear from a lot of our members, you will hear from a lot of our national associations, from countries and colleagues across the world. So I invite you all to join us on December 10th for that global call. Kathy, over to you. Put the
Thank
link.
you, Gunjan. Thank you, Gunjan. So I realized that I forgot to ask if there were any interesting topics or discussions in your groups that you feel we should hear. Gunjan, I know, has given us a summary of her group, but if someone has something that is important to tell us, please, this is your chance. One from each group, and then we will move on from there.
Can
Yes,
I talk?
Dr. Yes.
Yes, SACDIC, this year we found out that approaching this, especially the 16-day activism, to be on national television, left, right, and center, is gaining a lot of influence. People are hearing our words, and we also categorize meeting with youth, meeting with the traditional rulers, and then the government. We do march together in our with the women affairs, the human rights, the government. So our mingling with all these groups is really making huge impact. And just this morning, I heard that more than 50 million viewers that they had on SACDIC on S16 day, and then SEPI, and people are saying, what is happening? And I said, we are just advocating on behalf of women. So I saw that what SACDIC Nigeria is doing this year is very, very, very important. And Aisha shared what she's doing in my degree, even in a very volatile, but people are hearing us. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rebecca. Cassidy, Namya, Pascal, do you have any interesting contributions from your group?
Dr. Rebecca was in my group, so she just spoke for our group. So I'll give time to the others.
My group, I think,
Cassidy.
touched on a point that Gunjan had already spoken about, which is about laws and about Malawi and in Sri Lanka, how there are laws, but they're ineffective. So then what can the civil society do about it? So that was the discussion that we had.
Thank you. Luana, Pascal. All right. If everyone is satisfied with their groups, then we want to say thank you very much for participating on this call. We appreciate you joining us, and for our presenters for putting in their time and the great work that all of us are doing in this area and in this very sensitive area. And so to this, we want to say thank you and goodbye to all of you. And as tradition for MCLD, we are right on time today. As is tradition, we should clap for ourselves. So as is tradition for MCLD, we will all put on our mics and then we will say goodbye in your language. So in Luo, mine is Oriti. So you
say
will
Watarana.
all
Bye bye.
Say Watarana Mnya Hausa.
Nyadugo.
Bye.
Amahoro, murabeho.
Baba Mari, ina Baba.
Baba ba shi da lafiya.
Murabeho.
Oh, wow.
Baba ba shi da lafiya, za a mai surgery ranar
Au
Tuesday.
revoir.
Oh.
Au revoir, Michel.
Au revoir.
Banjiba.
Wallahi ba shi da lafiya, na bar shi a asibiti ma.
Wow. Sorry.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Love you all.
Thank you so much. Yeah, bye-bye.
What's up?
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.